Between 2012 and 2016, the number of Australian adults whose diet is all or almost vegetarian has risen from 1.7 million people to almost 2.1 million. And it seems they're onto something. Roy Morgan research found that while 60% of Australian adults have a body mass index that qualifies as overweight or obese, this figure drops to 45% for those whose diet is mostly or totally vegetarian, which is why joining us now to give us healthy tips on how to convert to vegetarianism, please welcome our resident nutritionist, Trish Guy.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Now, I know this vegetarian craze, it seems like everyone's picking it up, whether it's for animal reasons, environment reasons, or Beyonce said so. But what should people consider when making the transition to vegetarianism?
Well, firstly, making the transition to becoming a vegetarian is a really positive choice, not only for your health of your body, but also the health of the environment. But there are a couple of things to consider, and if you're wanting to make it a long-term sustainable choice, it's important to remember that switching to vegetarianism doesn't just mean leaving meat off the plate or leaving it out of your dishes. You really do need to focus on replacing that meat with some really nutritious and sustaining food options.
Do you need to see a dietitian before you make the switch, or see a doctor if you need to make a switch?
You might want to get some practical ideas, and I guess as you're going further along the spectrum, if you're, say, for example, going to try a vegan diet where all animal products are excluded, a lot more planning is needed there, particularly for children and maybe pregnant women or women who might be breastfeeding. You might want to consider getting your iron levels checked or your B12 levels monitored if you do go more down the vegan spectrum.
Why do you need to get your iron levels checked if you're going that spectrum? Can't you get the same amount of foods from eating meat, or do you need to take supplements or minerals, or what's the story?
Certainly, so many studies have shown that a well-planned vegetarian diet, even vegan diets, can provide all the nutrients our body needs. So the key nutrients that may be in shorter supply on a vegetarian diet are iron and zinc and B12 if you are avoiding all animal products. But appropriately planned and replacing the meat with ingredients or foods like whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, vitamin B12 fortified soy milks if you're not having dairy milk, will ensure that you get all of the nutrients that you do need.
Oh, that sounds really hard to be Trish.
It sounds overwhelming.
It does.
Where would someone start?
Well, it depends where you're at. You might want to just go all in and stop eating meat altogether. But what I actually did when I started becoming or transitioning away from meat is I did it slowly.
Oh, hold on. You were a meat eater?
I grew up eating meat.
So you're one of us.
You're us.
Once upon a time, now you're siding with us.
There were two things. I actually woke up and felt really sick one morning after having a big meat meal, and then I was at uni at the time and I was starting to obviously learn. I mean, I'm so lucky to have been to uni and learned so much about nutrition. I just started to learn how healthy eating more plant-based foods were and some of the downsides of having lots of meat. And, I really think about it as eating more plant foods, you're filling your plate up on those really health-promoting foods, foods that are going to nourish my body for a long time. There's just not much room for meat anymore.
So when you were transitioning, what was the hardest thing for you?
Learning how to use some of these new ingredients and also my family accepting it. I was still living at home at the time, so my dad would never eat a lentil, but I started replacing some of the mince in my mum's rissoles with lentils and more vegetables, and he never knew. So,
now the boys have left home and there's just Gary and I at home. We're thinking about the transition, right, to going to vegetarian, eating vegetables.
You too, Shona.
Oh, I know.
I'm going to be by myself here. Oh, the traitors.
My winter I don't have a problem with because, we eat curries and, bolognese and all those sorts of things. It's the summer. I sit down to a salad and I go, where's the hunk of meat?
I know. I'm the same. You need some variety by the end of summer. But I think of salads now as the main meal, and it's not just lettuce and tomato and cucumber. You really do have to think differently about a salad. So, sometimes salads are based on, lentils. So, black lentils, pie lentils, they are beautiful as the basis of a salad. They hold their shape, they have a lovely meaty texture, and you can add lots of other crunchy vegetables. And, I love the olive oil dressings as well.
Yeah.
So they become the star of the meal
Yeah.
and make that salad really sustaining.
Do they fill you up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause that's
and-
when I've spoken to people.
What, a
like,
whole
I just
can
don't
or
feel
a whole
full.
packet? What's like? How much do you need? You know.
chickpea do I need?
You know, you're adding lots of other vegetables as well, and having some whole grain bread with the salad. It's just, you know, it's delightful.
I know you mentioned bread, and that's the thing. Some vegetarians are vegetarian, but they carb it up and they have heaps of carbs. They replace it with pastry, and you can become an unhealthy vegetarian.
You can,
So,
absolutely.
what are other things that you can eat to, you know, substitute meat?
Well, things like tofu. I mean, people go, oh, tofu.
Yeah, I'm like,
So
the
there's
spot
so
right now.
much more variety, and they're so much better tasting these days. They come already flavoured. That, you know, is quickly thrown into a stir fry to crisp them up. They, you know, they really take on the flavours and bring their own flavour as well. So. Tofu is a staple in our
I have to
home.
say I've recently married. My stepchildren are meat eaters, never eaten vegetarian food, so that's been a challenge for me. But I have tried to sneak some of those tofus and, you know, a bit of both.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't even tell them.
That's right.
And we've got a few through.
Yeah.
I do think it's a mental thing, because I know growing up, a lot of people, when you talk about vegetarianism, they think you just eat rabbit food, right? But there's so much on the market now that you can get, because my girls are vegetarian, and they eat a lot of, there's a product called burdock, but there's a lot of soy products out there. What do you think about those soy products?
They are really great if you are transitioning and you want something that looks and is familiar in terms of preparing and serving. So, you know, vegetarian sausages and
Yeah, 'cause I know
patties.
Sanitarian.
If you're going to a barbecue.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. But, you know, it is good to include more chickpeas and lentils and nuts and seeds, cooking more from scratch. And that's the same whether you eat meat or you don't eat meat. We want to get people to cook more from scratch. So, yeah, definitely the soy sausages and burgers are great when you are transitioning and do make really quick and easy meals, or great for barbecues.
If you're starting
add
out,
the others as
where
well.
can you get some great vegetarian products?
Oh, there are so many
recipes.
recipes. I always say when you go to next time you're at a restaurant, try the vegetarian option just to get you used to or familiar with some different foods. But Sanitarium has hundreds of recipes on their website, all vegetarian. That, you know, whether you're looking for something quick and easy for your family or something a bit more.
Thanks so much, Trish. That was really great information there, and I hope that's helped you as well. Ladies, thank you for the chat, and thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, share and subscribe if you're watching us online. Link up with us on our social media pages, because there's always room for more mums at the table. Until next time, God bless.